In today's video, we're going to be taking a look here at these current conditions. We're going to be also diving into the upcoming pattern as well as some severe weather that we're going to have with this cold front. Let's just get straight into things though, and first things first, we're taking a look here at our current radar imagery. We have quite a bit of activity stretching through the southwestern United States. That does include California, Nevada, Arizona, Utah, New Mexico, and even Colorado. But I kind of associate all of this right here more with the cold front. So we have a lot of activity down here at this point for states like Colorado, New Mexico as well, Texas, Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, maybe southern Kentucky, and northern Georgia as well in there. We will zoom into all of these areas, rest assured. We do see that there is some showers associated with this as well, a little bit further north up there for states like Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Virginia as well. We see some showery activity up here in Canada, a little bit of New England as well. And then we have our typical summertime tropical thunderstorms going on for these humid and hot states down here for the Gulf of Mexico and the southeast. Now, for the southwest, we'll just start out with this region. We can see as we zoom in, areas near Southern California here, near Phoenix, Arizona, even Phoenix, Arizona themselves. We've seen over the past few days there's been precipitation around, but not necessarily over Phoenix. Today it looks like there was some passing thunderstorms and showers that literally hit downtown Phoenix. Now, also Tucson as well. You guys got hit with some of that also. In general, the I-10, I-8 areas here are seeing a lot of showery and thunderstorm activity. We also see I-19 seeing some of that as well. So southern Arizona in general is getting hit with a lot of this precipitation. Now for southeastern California, a very desertous region here, we see that there was a lot of showers going on for this region, especially heavier showers earlier on. This has actually died down over the last few hours, as a matter of fact. We see that southwestern New Mexico was getting some of these showers associated with this pocket here in southern Arizona. That has also sort of moved out. As we move slightly northward, we could see some showers here for northern New Mexico and southern Colorado going on. Some of these are heavier at times. Most of them are light, however. Now we see up here in Utah, Nevada, southern Idaho as well, we see quite a bit of thunderstorms and showers going on at this point, mostly to the west of Salt Lake City there in Utah. Now, as we take a look at the plains here, we can see states like Nebraska, Kansas, Texas, Oklahoma, all seeing showers and thunderstorms at this point. We see bigger pockets of showers there on the western ends, and then we see more scattered about thunderstorms there on the eastern end. That's usually how things go. So we're seeing that cross into states like Utah or Oklahoma. I don't know what it is right now with these states. Kansas as well, we're seeing some of that going on. Now, as we take a little bit eastward, we see for Arkansas, and we see for Tennessee mostly, but even surrounding states as well, like Missouri, Kentucky, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. We see these showers, again, kind of the same story on the western end here. We're seeing more showers currently. So we're seeing the yellows and the greens mostly in there currently. And then we see a lot of these thunderstorms here east of that. So for Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, we're going to be seeing some of those thunderstorms there on the very eastern front of things. And just as expected, by the way, this is a cold, well, it's kind of a stationary front at this point, so the front is stretching like this. But remember how I've been saying for days, the storms are going to move along this frontal boundary because they're being squeezed from the south and from the north equally. Okay, so you see it moving along. That's very, very classic of a slow-moving, kind of losing the battle cold front or stationary front. So that is what we're seeing at this point. Now, for the Gulf of Mexico in general, we see, again, these tropical thunderstorms. Typical stuff here. Very isolated, very quick, but could lead towards some quick flash flooding and potent lightning as well. Very common with those types of storms. We do see that up here in Virginia, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Ohio. We do see some showers and potentially thunderstorms rolling throughout the day today, but especially this morning we saw quite a bit of those as well. And there's just some sporadic isolated showers here for New England as well, mostly to your north, but these could be impacting northern Maine here. I see some near Quebec. I see some isolated thunderstorms there you can see popping up. These could impact these regions a little bit later on today. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move on, and we're going to take a look at the upcoming pattern as well as some upcoming severe weather. All right, now here we are taking a look at the upcoming pattern. We can see that later on today, we're going to see these thunderstorms and showers continue along this frontal boundary in here. We do have a slight risk of severe weather up here in the mid-Atlantic. We'll take a look at that a little bit later on. That's where the worst thunderstorms are expected today, but, pay attention anywhere because, like yesterday, for instance, I think we saw a confirmed tornado and a general thunderstorm risk, or a marginal risk, I think, up there in New York. If you watched yesterday morning's video, there was a tornado warning going on when I first started the video, and that actually was a confirmed tornado from what I heard. So that didn't happen in a slight risk, that happened in a marginal risk, I'm pretty sure, if not a general thunderstorm risk. So anything is possible, so heat every watch morning advisory. I really mean it when I say that to you guys. It can really happen. Severe weather is probably the most unpredictable out of any weather type that we have. Even hurricanes are a little bit more predictable, I think, than severe weather, because severe weather, we can give you a map of where we think things are most likely or least likely, but at the end of the day, we're kind of just sitting and waiting for these storms to unfold and then drop down what they're going to drop down. Whereas a hurricane, we can kind of sense the direction and the trends. Snowstorms, again, direction and trends, but with this type of situation, you're waiting for those storms to start and they're rapidly going to intensify. So it's very, very tough to predict. Now, we see this monsoon activity continuing throughout the day today. We see quite a bit of activity here in the plains still continuing, and these tropical thunderstorms coming more on shore later on today. As we move on towards tomorrow, which will be Saturday, July 31st, we can see that with this cold front, there is just some activity rolling through here with the cold front, and it's mostly hitting the deeper south at this point, so it's heading further and further south. This is the point where in between Saturday and Sunday, we're going to see this start to move northward. We see this monsoon activity continuing, by the way. As we approach Sunday, the 31st, look at that. It's further north again, so we see it all the way up here. And then by Monday, August 1st, we see it all the way up here. So this is when it goes from a cold front to a stationary front to eventually a warm front, actually. We're heading further northward. Now, by Tuesday the 2nd, we can see this is pretty much dissipated. There is some activity along the eastern United States ongoing, but I don't think it's associated with that cold front any longer. And really, we just have some, typical summertime thunderstorms happening by this point. We see this monsoon activity continuing here in the southwest, but not only that, we also see just some activity for the northwest, the Rockies, and surrounding states as well. Now, by Wednesday, the 3rd of August, we see a very strong low, a 990 millibar low pressure center developing here with a cold front stretching down through the upper Midwest and Great Lakes. We see these tropical thunderstorms happening underneath. Still, the Rockies seeing that activity as well as the monsoon. This cold front, though, we'll have to see what happens. Let's take this towards Thursday, August 4th, and we see it stretching across New England and the Ohio Valley here. So that's pretty interesting, and it could lead towards some cooler air as well, some thunderstorms up here for the Northeast, Ohio Valley, and Great Lakes. We'll be watching for that around the first week of August. This is pretty long range. Take it with a grain of salt, but I think that is pretty likely to happen. We've seen these pretty much pan out for the most part. We've seen a couple of these in the pattern. We've seen one hit already. We're seeing our next one roll through, and then a third one wouldn't really be the biggest surprise in the world, obviously. Now, for the southeast, we're still seeing these tropical thunderstorms ongoing. And then for the northwest, we have a storm system rolling through. It really has been quiet and dry for you guys up there, so it would be interesting to get back in a pattern where we're seeing that activity return to your region of the United States. Now, for Friday here, August 5th, look at that snowfall for Canada. Are we already getting to that time of year? I don't know, but there is snowfall showing up on this model for Canada. They're really close to the United States. Trying to make sure there's none hitting the United States. I don't think there is, but that storm is awfully close. There is a pretty decent trough. It looks potent at least. We see the jet stream moving about like this, so there is a lot of cooler air around for these regions, and that's probably what's causing this snowfall to be possible in the very highest elevations there of the very far northern Rockies, further north than the United States even. I think it's funny we call it the Northern Rockies in like Idaho and Montana when the Rockies go way up into Canada. It's more like the Central Rockies in reality. We see that for the four corner states, there's still this activity ongoing here for Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming. So we see this activity continue. We see the tropical thunderstorms continue, and we see just a couple of pockets of isolated thunderstorms here throughout the United States, mostly the east here. But overall, it gets a little bit quieter here in the United States, at least. Now, by Saturday, this is going to be the 6th. We see the Four Corner States activity continuing. We see thunderstorms for the Mid-Atlantic, and then also this tropical thunderstorm activity still going on down here in the southeast. No surprise there whatsoever. And then by Sunday here, the 7th, we see that this activity has stretched up into the northern plains, but we see this still ongoing. We still see some thunderstorms here over the east, and then we see the tropical thunderstorms continuing. What's interesting is the jet stream is going to look about like this. We're going to get into a major heat wave according to the European model. So a lot of warm air is going to be heading into the eastern half of the nation. Probably this right here is just some tropical thunderstorms associated with the amount of heat heading into the region. That wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the total precipitation, but after that, we will take a look at those upcoming temperatures where we'll be able to talk more about that upcoming heat wave that is going to be possible in the long range according to the European model. Now here's the total precipitation through the next 10 days. No surprise that where that cold front and that stationary front set up is where we see most of the precipitation as well as the monsoon. We see some of this for the deeper south as well, but mostly it's going to be for the southeastern corner of the nation. I do see, obviously, the Four Corner States is more like the southwest, but we do see some of that going on as well. So mostly the southern United States at least. Now, if you're anywhere in the whites, we're taking a look at practically no precipitation, but your grays will be about 1/10 of an inch or less of precipitation. Your greens will be 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. Your blues will be 1/2 an inch to an inch. Your yellows will be 1 inch to 2 inches. Your reds will be 2 to 5 inches, and then your browns will be 5 to 10 inches of precipitation. So those reds is where we're seeing above average amounts of precipitation in general over the next 10 days. Now what we're going to do is move on and take a look here at this upcoming temperature pattern. Now here's day one on the temperature pattern. We can see these cold fronts have really impacted the temperature pattern because we see plenty of cooler to neutral air going on for these regions. We see the warmth hanging on underneath and up the east coast here, and then the west is fully engaged in a ridge at this point called a positive PNA. When that happens, it does cause colder air to head further east, which we do see happening here. Positive PNA is still going on out here. We see the cooler air stretching across these regions with the cold front. The east coast is starting to see these neutral temperatures, especially the further north you go. So more neutral, if anything. It's going to feel like a nice relief from what we've had, though. And we even see neutral temperatures reaching the Gulf Coast as well. Not going to feel quite as nice down there, I don't think. As we reach day 2 or 3, which is going to be Sunday, July 31st, the final day of July, we start to see this cold front, or this cold air, better yet, get squeezed. We see warm air over top and warm air underneath. This is going to be the demise of this cold air. What we're going to see here is over time, by August 1st, hardly any cooler air is left in here. We see, again, the warm over top, the warm underneath, and it's just going to continue to squeeze until Tuesday, August 2nd, where it's almost practically gone. We see some left over for Mississippi and Alabama, but we're starting to cool down here for the west, and the trend, I think, is the heat heading eastward here because of that cooling there in the west. So let's continue this on. August 3rd here, we see cooler air really spreading through the west. This is a negative PNA, which causes the warmth to head into the east in the central United States, and we see that happening in plenty, really happening here. A lot of warm air heading to the eastern United States by August 3rd. Thursday, August 4th, we see really almost all of the warm air for North America here is over the eastern 2/3 of the nation. We see plenty of cooler air now for the west. So we reach a full-on negative PNA pattern here. This is going to force that warm air further eastward. Again, like I said, August 5th, there is some cooler areas in the east, like the Gulf Coast and for the Northeast and the upper Midwest. But overall, if you were to take the entire eastern 2/3 of the nation, on average here, we're seeing far above normal temperatures and still very, very cool temperatures for the west in general. August 6th, we see the warmth is still in the east, the cool is still in the west. August 7th here, which is going to be our final frame, we see that warmth is trying to infiltrate the west now, which is a good sign that this heat wave will come to an end in the eastern United States. We can already see that this cooler air has moved more over the Rockies. That should continue to move further eastward after this point and move this heat out. But for now, this heat is very potent, especially the further north you go. More neutral for the southeast and in the Gulf states there. But for the upper Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and some of the plains as well, we're seeing very, very potent heat. The reds are going to be about 10 to 15 degrees above what your normal temperature is. And then we even see some of those browns going on for states like Iowa, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Those states are going to be seeing temperatures that are about 15 to 25 degrees above what your average temperature is, which is a significant departure from what is typical and will definitely be felt if that was the case. Again, this is towards the end of this model run, so be sure to take it with a grain of salt. Now what we're going to do is move on and take a look at the severe weather outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. Now here's the day 1 categorical outlook, and as you can see, we have 2 general thunderstorm risk areas. One that is very large and you can't miss, and then one there for California and Oregon. This is all the areas where we expect general thunderstorms, but again, anything is possible. You can even get tornadoes in these areas, so heed every watch, warning, and advisory. Now we have 3 darker green regions there, one for near Nevada, Arizona, California, and then one there for Montana, and then again, one you can't miss that stretches from Texas and Oklahoma all the way up to the Mid-Atlantic. Those are the areas where we expect isolated severe weather to occur, and then our yellow region there for Virginia, Maryland, DC, and in general the Delmarva there as well. That is where we have a slight risk, and that is where we expect scattered severe weather to take place throughout the day today on Friday, July 29th. Now for day 2 here, we have 2 general thunderstorm risk areas again where you can expect general thunderstorms, but anything is possible, so still heed every watch, warning, and advisory. And then we have a marginal risk area here. Remember yesterday I said there was no marginal risk, even if it was just a general thunderstorm risk, but I mentioned that we could still get a marginal risk in there. This is that day, and we do have a marginal risk now there for Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Texas. So that in fact did upgrade to a marginal risk there. And then for day 3 here, we have a general thunderstorm risk there, a very, very large one, where again we can expect general thunderstorms, but still anything is possible, so heed every watch, warning, and advisory. And then we have the 2 darker green regions there, one for Minnesota, and then one there for Virginia, a tiny bit of Tennessee, and then North Carolina as well. And that's where we expect isolated severe weather to occur there on Sunday, July 31st. Anyway, for today's confidence tab, we still have no tropical activity expected in the foreseeable future, and I'm still at a 4 out of 6. I'm really waiting until we have one major thing we're focusing on to really change this too much at all. For today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons, Bill Crates, James Wade, Dovin Nagel, Lure the Pan, Mandy Birchfield, Patrick Strickland, Dave Scott, and Donna Carnes as well. I would also thank our diamond patrons, Bill Roberts, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Kudalasa, Catbite, Charles Stinnett, Bill Dallas, Garys, and John Calisi also. I'd also to thank our channel members, Catbite, Stephen Fan, and Jeremy Cox as well. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. I'll see you guys in the next video.